So Phil, YouTube has searched and assessed your channel with over 80,000 videos, and they couldn't find a single one that was worth recommending. That is an indictment on you.
Urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you're not DSP. And Phil is what you would call an old fool, because we expect wisdom and knowledge and information to come from our elders. But all Phil seems to know how to do is to pound his chest and to speak with conviction, even on things he does not understand. So let's get into it.
But a lot of people are saying that their views overall in the last month have gone way down, and they're complaining about this and saying, you know, oh, because of this now, our revenue is shot and everything. And I just listened to this and I'm like, man, am I glad I don't worry about that shit anymore. Because there was a time when I used to have to worry about that because all my stuff was based on video views, performance, ad revenue. That doesn't really affect me anymore.
And that's part of your problem, Phil. That's part of your problem. You haven't diversified the ways you make revenue, which is why you beg so hard. And this is why you always will beg, because that's another opportunity for you to generate revenue, yet you put no effort into it. You don't ever do thumbnails. You hardly ever do compelling titles. You don't even try to chop it up in any type of way. There's just no editing whatsoever. So when somebody comes across your channel and they look at it and they say, wow, this guy seems like he don't care about it at all. So why would they care? Even so, because people can look at something, and even though they don't understand what it is, they can tell if it took time to create. It's like when you was in high school, man, and you had to do a group project or something. You knew the groups off the rip who put in that time to actually make the project good, and you can tell the ones who did it that morning.
Like having low views for a few weeks or whatever, it's not a big change for me. Most of my revenue is made here on live streams. Okay. But anyway, what creators have been saying is that apparently since views are down across the site, maybe what's happening is people are accidentally having restricted mode turned on their YouTube accounts without them doing it. And then they're not seeing the content. And so therefore, that's why views aren't coming in. I don't really know if I believe that. I think YouTube changed the algorithm again.
Now, he's going to go into his YouTube algorithm speculation and showcases how much he does not know. But oftentimes things like this are multifaceted. It's seldom only one thing causing something. It's usually a series of things or a series of events that is causing something. There's going to be a shakeup. The dust is going to settle, and then it'll be business as usual. And people who are in business or deal with money, they understand that things have ebbs and flows. That's just the nature of it. It's not a big deal.
To be honest, I think YouTube, they do this all the time. Some fucking nerd thinks that they're smart and says, I'm going to literally change the way all videos get seen on YouTube today. I'm just going to go change the algorithm. So people who have built their entire livelihoods and businesses off of making content a certain way will now be erased and hurt hugely, but I don't care because I'm a fucking nerd who works at YouTube, and I just run this algorithm and I just change things whenever I want.
Now, if you're running a multi-billion-dollar industry or a company, right, something like Google and its conglomerates and all its multiple subsidiaries, do you really think that they're making a decision on a whim? Like, only Phil will put together such an articulate point about something so big. It's far more intricate than that, Phil. People and executives and planners and all these different people are coming together, and they're having multiple meetings, fine-tuning these things before they ever try to roll them out. There's so many man hours and science and data behind these decisions. It has nothing to do with a freaking nerd pushing the button. That's just the guy at the very end that's told to execute the plan. But oftentimes that's not even the guy who's a part of the planning. God, this dude don't know nothing.
This happened many times over the course of me being a creator. The worst possible time was actually, I want to say it was around 2015. It was 2015, 2016, right? So previously, I had videos on YouTube that used to get insane views no matter what. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions Part 1 was historically a video that every month got recommended to anyone who was looking for Spider-Man content on YouTube. And that video every month alone, that video would get anywhere between 10,000 all the way up to 50,000 views just itself. One video.
Now you would think that somebody would be appreciative of something like that, that for the better part of 10 years, a video was recommended in a YouTube algorithm, even though it was no longer relevant. You still were getting residual views, and what you should be getting residual views now, but nobody's watching your content. And that's really what you're mad about. But I'm gonna let him continue.
Would always get tons of views, which is why that video, if you look it up, has millions of views. Okay. There was another video too. I believe it was when PlayStation 4 first came out, like the launch of PS4, John and I played some racing game. I think it might have been like a Need for Speed. And for some reason, that video always showed up in the algorithm. When you search for Need for Speed, that video would show up and it would always get views. So that video, like 5,000 to 10,000 views a month, even though it was an old video, it would bring in those views.
Yes, because once upon a time, the way YouTube calculated if a video was good was strictly off its view count. This was the early days before they really started putting a lot of math and analytics behind the stuff that they're doing now. Things evolve, Phil. So now they have better metrics to determine if something is good or not. And the simple fact of it is your videos don't meet the criteria. It's really that simple.
All of a sudden, in like 2014, 2015, 2016, one of those years, YouTube said, change the algorithm entirely. What ended up happening was all of my legacy content actually stopped showing up in YouTube related videos and related searches. So now if you actually look up, I'm going to go to YouTube right now. Okay.
He's actually going to do this. Now, he did this a couple months ago. So you can tell this whole Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions thing is another wound that has gone many years unhealed. And he's still licking it and throwing salt on it, but it's refusing to heal itself. Why are you going about the business of wasting everyone's time talking about a video that you did 10 years ago? Just say you don't have no content for the podcast today and then get into the damn video game. My goodness.
And I'm going to type in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Okay. I get Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions 14 years later. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions gameplay walkthrough, no commentary. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions walkthrough from Pack Attack. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Shattered Dimensions gameplay. None of mine. None of mine at all.
And isn't that a beautiful thing? That YouTube has finally curated itself in a way to where the slop is the stuff that's pushed to the bottom, because that's one of the best things YouTube could have did was push you out of their algorithm, quote unquote, according to you, when we know the truth is you pushed yourself out of the algorithm. But we're going to get into that in a second.
Doesn't show up. My video is not there whatsoever. It's everyone else's gameplay, none of mine. Okay. So then I'm going to type in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions DSP Gaming. Here it is. Part 1 of my playthrough from 15 years ago.
Okay, so what's the problem? We know that YouTube is a search engine, but it's also a database. So when you keyword search your game, the way if somebody was looking for what you made specifically, they still can find it. So YouTube is working as intended. Everything is fine. You act as if people cannot find it, but you just showcase that you can. I'm gonna let them continue. Just watch.
Has 3.2 million views. That video has more views than every single Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions video on the YouTube except one. The only one that beats it, someone took all the cutscenes and turned it into a movie. That one has 4 million views. So mine has 3.2 million. It's the second most viewed video on YouTube of that game. And it doesn't show up in YouTube search when you search for Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions.
Imagine crying about having the second most viewed video on a game on YouTube. Imagine that being your complaint. This is so ridiculous and even more pathetic, because Why can't you just accept the fact that there was a point in time where you were the big dog, you were on top, and you had your time? It's not enough that you have the second view video for a particular game. You still want more. And again, this speaks to his greed. He's the same way with his tips and his contributions. It doesn't matter how much you give him, he's always going to want more. Because what happened? How many times have we seen this dude get $150 out the gate, right? Hit the first goal. What does he do immediately? He changes the leaderboard, right? It goes from 150 to 300 all immediately. So we know that this is a black hole.
It just never shows up. Everyone else's video that has 200,000, 300,000 views, they show up. Not mine. Okay? So what happens over time is YouTube changes the algorithms. Okay? And when they do that, videos get kicked out of search.
Okay. Can you please explain to us, 20-year YouTuber, how YouTube is changing the algorithm? You keep saying they change the algorithm. You keep talking about nerds and you keep talking about things being recoded, but you have not articulated to us in a way that makes sense how they actually step by step change the algorithm to directly affect you. We're still waiting on that.
Like, I'm not even kidding you. I'm looking at Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Part 41 has 27,000 views. Part 41 of a playthrough had 27,000 views. But if you go look at it, no one has watched it in the last 7 to 8 years. It's unwatchable. No one can find it. So all those views came in like a decade ago. And then cold stop because YouTube recoded and kicked all my old videos out of the algorithm. So no one finds them for anything. Even though
this is the crazy thing about his entitlement, right? Why would you even expect a 10-year-old video to show up even to begin with, regardless of how big or how great it was? That doesn't make sense. You know how many musicians out there who have crazy #1 songs that went nuts during their decade, but I guarantee you, if you look up their name right now, you're going to see them on some podcast or making an appearance somewhere. And the music video is going to be like 2 or 3 down the recommended list. Why would YouTube showcase that? If anything, that would show that there's some type of flaw in the algorithm because people are creating newer, better, more refined, higher produced content, and they're not showcasing that.
frequently people go back and watch retro playthroughs of old games, they can't find mine anymore. So even though I have a giant catalog of videos, remember, I've made over 70, 80,000 videos. No one can find the old stuff and I don't get paid for any of it.
Tell me that's not music to your ears, man. Because the truth is, with 70 or 80,000 videos, he should be living off residuals. Phil's channel should be getting a couple million views alone, just off things that he did years ago. But it's so bad, so awful that nobody cares about it. Even when he did the DSP throwback channel, y'all remember that failed venture that went nowhere fast? When he repurposed it and remastered it for a modern audience, and what happened? Nobody cared. People went and watched the first video for the lols to see how it was going to go, and what happened? Nobody cared. Not even your most surefire diehard dents. It just, they're burnt out fast, just like everything else that you do, because you don't put no passion into it at all. You look at it as a money-making venture, and you just cast your net, and hopefully you catch something. It's just a terrible way of going about things.
This happens every once in a while where newer creators who maybe have been making a living on YouTube for 5 years, they'll come out and they'll be like, something happened, right? Something happened. And basically now, because of that, now we're not getting views. It's not that something happened. It's that YouTube just recoded the algorithm again. And now your videos just aren't prominent. A whole new slew of people will now start to be featured in the content. I feel like they do this every few years. They recode, and then you're the current guard, you're out. You're not, you're yesterday's news. Now a new group of people who make new kind of videos, they will be the ones featured, and you're just pushed to the side no matter how hard you worked, no matter how hard you tried, no matter how you gamed the system when that was the system. Well, YouTube changed the system.
That is 100% a lie, because many of us have YouTubers or content creators that we watch who have been around for 10, 15 plus years. There are so many legacy channels on YouTube. Like, what are you talking about, man? Why can Angry Joe, why he's still around, Phil? What about Jeremy Jung, the guy who does movie reviews? What about Chris Stuckman? Right? I can go on and on and on about OGs who are still on the scene, still putting in that work, and they're still thriving. But they actually have people skills. They actually know how to interact with their audience. They actually know how to appreciate their audience. They actually make sure that the stuff that they're putting out is entertaining. And when you watch them, you know that they care about what they're doing. So by extension, you care about it. It's not that difficult to figure out, Phil. So you can blame the failure of your channel on YouTube all you want to, but you really need to blame yourself, because they're no longer calling a video good just because people viewed it or clicked on it. That's not enough. That's the indicator of a good thumbnail, not a good video. So when he says algorithm, what he really should be saying is viewer, because when they went in there and quote unquote recoded the algorithm, they started to account for what viewers are actually watching, not just clicking on, which means what? Watch time, retention, which leads to more ads, right? So an indicator of a good video is how long somebody watches it, not if somebody clicks on it or not. So when they put DSP's videos up against this new metric, it did not measure up, which tells you that Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions video, even though it had all those views, I guarantee if you look at the retention, it's terrible. And that's why it's no longer being recommended.
So now, there you go. Okay? So, I don't know what else to say. That's just how it seems to work. Okay? It's sad, but it's true. Me, I've seen the ups and downs of YouTube. I've had times when my videos were prominent. I have times when no one watches my videos. I have times where I'm in between, and it kind of goes like this. And, you know, right now I coast at like 500,000 views a month, basically, on DSP Gaming. Which is fine, but it sucks that there's no consistency, right? And it sucks that at any moment they change stuff and then I just don't get stuff seen anymore, right? Russian Name says, I have a theory. Modern YouTube pushes videos from YouTubers managed by a talent agency and videos related to modern products. In case of gaming only, new games content into the algorithm. No, you're very, very well. You could be right. They have criteria they're following, and it will push certain content into the prominence, and other content just sweep it under the rug, and you can't find it anymore.
Once again, blaming everybody else for his problems. Phil, you once again have showcased how little you understand things, but how proud you are willing to act and act as if you do understand these things. But when you speak to people who do understand, it's quite obvious that you don't, okay? Because the way YouTube works is there's a few different things going on, but primarily that's why they call it a YouTube channel, right? A channel by definition is a niche, because a channel is going to have certain things. You know, it'll have the sports channel, the gardening channel, the cooking channel, etc., right? So what you need to do if you want to have a successful channel is find a niche and double down on that niche. Why is that important? Because what YouTube is going to do first when you create a video is send it to your subscribers, right? They're going to use your subscribers as a test bed before they send it to everyone else. Which means if the people who are in that genre or in that niche are not watching it, YouTube is not going to recommend it to anyone else. Why would they? This is why a lot of y'all who've been watching the DSP detractor content have still not been recommended DSP gaming itself. Why? Because even though it's in that niche or in that genre, the contemporaries in that same vein have higher watch time, better retention. So to YouTube, this is a better video on that subject matter for the viewer. And it is, because would you rather watch DSP detractor content or would you rather watch DSP himself? The answer is obvious. So when you ask me, I will say that at times YouTube algorithm is a little overtuned, right? When I say a little, I mean a lot, because you can watch 2 or 3 videos and next thing you know, that's all you seeing on your recommended. Okay, so I will say that. But at the core of how it works, it's designed to try to appease the viewer. This is what you seem to like. Here's more of it. So Phil, YouTube has searched and assessed your channel with over 70, 80,000 videos, and they couldn't find a single one that was worth recommending. That is an indictment on you, your work ethic, and your terrible, terrible job or attempt at what you call entertainment, that they would not recommend any of them to anyone. Go on to your YouTube channel right now and just take a quick look at all your recommended. I guarantee you DSP Gaming won't be in there. And a lot of y'all been watching detractor content for years. So that tells me that the algorithm is working just fine, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to be recommended DSP Gaming. And it sounds like the rest of the world don't either, because you got 200 something thousand subs, but most of them are dead subs, which is one of the worst things that you can have on your channel. Because if I guarantee you right now, if Phil was honest with himself and he wouldn't really want to take a real assessment of his life, because that sub count is just a vanity number for him at this point. It makes him feel good. But I guarantee you, if he started a new channel, how many real subs do you think he would have? Comment down below. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.